Hi everyone, it's Lehman with Lace Covered Skies. I'm here today to do a tutorial on how to make these envelopes. So I have 3 of them so far, and I need to make 5. So I thought I would come on here and show you how I made them. Now the first thing I did was I printed this image, which is a free image on the old design shop, I believe. If I can find the link, I'll link it down below in the description box. But I printed it onto vintage dictionary paper. So that's the first thing I did. And you could print it onto any type of paper. I think it'll look good on anything. Like vintage paper. I have a book from, I think it's 1882 or something. I could have printed on that. It probably would have looked great on that. And it doesn't need to be very sturdy paper because we're going to back it onto paper that's a little bit thicker. So I'm going to use this for the inside. So let me go ahead and actually show you this. Now it closes with a string here. And as you can see, the inside is lined with this paper. And then I did some collaging, and after I did the collaging, I put the fastener on there. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I need to do is glue this on here. Now, if I look at this one, I'm going to glue it so that sorry, I'm trying to remember how I did this. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down just the way it is without turning it. I thought I had turned it this way, but I'm just going to glue it down this way. And then the side that you want to show, obviously, on the inside of the envelope is going to be, make sure it's facing out. So you're gluing these bad sides together. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I will, and you don't need to glue it too carefully because we're going to be sewing around the edge. This is the wrong glue. Okay, so I use a glue stick because I don't want the paper to warp. I'm actually putting kind of a lot of glue on for sewing it, but I figured I might as well. Right now I'm going to want to put it in the middle, so I think I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to kind of center it, and it doesn't have to be perfect because if it's a little bit cut off on the inside, that's fine because it's the lining. So that it can look a little like off. Okay. Now I am going to cut this down because I'm not going to keep it. I'm not going to keep the whole size of this. All right, so once I do that, let me measure this really quick. I'm gonna cut off the sides and only keep the parts with the words. That's just how I just chose to do it. If you want to keep the margins, you can totally do that. It's just whatever you feel will look the best. Now let me let it dry for a few minutes before I cut it, because I don't want the glue to get on my cutter. But let's go ahead. Okay, so after I cut it, I'm just going to keep the entire length of the dictionary paper. Yeah. All right, so let's think about collaging while the glue is drying. What I used was this napkin that I got from Tuesday Morning, and my Tuesday Morning closed. So I'm so sad about that. The one that's close to me closed recently, and the further ones also closed. So I don't even know if there's any Tuesday Mornings near me anymore. But I did get these there. I should have gone before they closed and like stocked up on napkins. And this was kind of an unexpected choice for me because I usually like not dark colors. Like I like really bright or feminine colors, even for my vintage stuff. But I was really drawn to this because of the outlines in the flowers. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about, but I like that they looked like drawings. So what I went ahead and did was I fussy cut out the images. So I'm not going to decoupage this on. I am going to just glue it on. And I just cut out like a whole bunch of different images from there. So let's go ahead and I'm going to choose some of these images to collage onto there. Okay. And another thing I do for these, sorry, I'm like reaching all over the place, is I make these strips. And sorry, these are already pre-made, but I use this type of paper and I basically just cut out like strips, and then so I cut out strips and then I fold them in half, and then I just corner punch one side, and then I'll show you what we do with them. And the side that's going to show, I inked up. So I inked up around this way. Okay, so we're going to use that. And then I'm going to do a little bit of collaging. I just have my basket here of odds and ends. Honestly, sometimes I feel like all that's left in here are the pieces that I don't like. I like this piece here. And some of these papers are so fragile too. Okay, let's go with that for now. Let me see if I have anything interesting in here. That could work. This could work. Okay, let's work with this. All right, now I think the glue is dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the sides up to where the writing starts. So right inside where the margin stops. Okay, I am gonna turn it this way because I have more edge here, and then I can see if I have more edge like right here on this end. So I can see if I'm cutting the paper straight. All right. Then I am going to let me see where I stopped. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it up right to here. Sorry, I'm out of frame. I'm just cutting it right now, and then I'll be back in frame because I don't have enough room for my paper cutter. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and fold it so that we know. And I'll give you the measurements of where to fold. Whoa, sorry. We are going to fold it up by 3 1/4. So let me just, about 3 1/4. I'm going to mark it right here. It doesn't need to be perfect, of course. It's just you're deciding the size of your envelope. You can make it any size you want. So it's about right there. Let me go ahead and fold it. Then I'm going to fold it down by, and again, you can fold it down however far you want to go. I'm going to say a little over 2 inches. So if your paper is a different size, then you can just fold it however will look right for your piece of paper. Okay. Now let me go ahead and trim off this little edge here because I was not exact when I was gluing it down. Okay, now let's go ahead and corner punch only these two corners right here. So it's on the top flap, what's going to become the top flap of the envelope. That's where it's going to be corner punched. And you can already see the shape taking place. And I think that this envelope looks really interesting without much effort because it has that layered printing. The printing of an already busy image over dictionary paper. So it just adds a lot of interest. And I'm going to do a bit of collaging in here, but I think even without the collaging, it looks really good. All right, so now I want this to go on this side. See, and this is just adding another layer where it's going to make it look interesting. So that's going to go there. Let me go ahead and glue it. This is the wrong glue again. All right. And I'm going to I'm going to sew these pieces, not for functionality, but more for interest and some added texture. So gluing this part doesn't need to be that exact. I'm not going to be sewing all of these pieces or all of what I'm collaging. I'm just going to be sewing these two pieces. So let me go ahead and cut this because this is not folding over anything. And I cut the wrong side. We're actually going to be using this side. So I'm going to go ahead and ink it. I have here frayed burlap. Okay. All right, I'm going to have it peeking over the top. And then later when I go to my sewing machine, I'm going to stitch around this way, just around the curved edges. So let me show you how that looks. Is it focusing? So I stitched all the way around. All right, now let's do some collaging. And this is a good time for collaging because this flap's still open and you have a little bit more freedom. And collaging is something that I don't do very quickly. I just can't. I know we're not supposed to overthink it, but I do, and I can't stop. And I think I won't stop. But that looks good there. I think with these journals, I've done the most collaging I've ever done. Ever. I really like that there. Well, actually, I like this part that's coming over, but I'm going to be stitching over this, so that's going to make it complicated. I think I'm going to glue it right here. I don't think I like this one. Okay, I'm going to glue that down. This is napkin, so using a glue stick on it is not the funnest way to do it, but that's what I just don't want the paper to warp. Like if I just ripped that. Okay, let me glue this down first. I guess the good thing about this is that you can kind of mend it back. So I'm gonna do one of these here. Okay. Let me see if I can figure out how to put it back together. There we go. Alright, so next, let me actually put some more glue here. And if this was like a thicker paper, I would be much more careful with my gluing. But because I know it's so thin that it's gonna not require a lot of glue, that's why I'm not really being too thorough about it. But normally I would be very thorough. That's too many parallel lines there. Let's see. I think I like that, even though it is a lot of parallel lines going, but I think I like it because it looks like it's part of that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go with that. Like this piece, I'm gonna be much more thorough just because it's a regular piece of paper and I want it to really stick down, and I'm not going to be sewing this, so all right. Yeah, I think I like that. We're already at 25 minutes. Okay. Now, I think I'm just going to do a couple of things on the outside, like that. And I think that looks good right there. Okay, I ripped it again, but it doesn't really matter because it just kind of goes back together once it's glued down good. Time passes by so quickly when you're filming. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fix the gluing a little bit later once I'm off camera. But that's what I have so far. And what I'm gonna do is go to the sewing machine and sew around the edge. But I already have one that's gotten to that point. It's kind of like one of those cooking shows, right? I can't get to my machine right now, so I did this one ahead of time. So I came to this step, I went to the machine, and I folded this flap up, and I ran a stitch all the way around. So just all the way around the outsides. And I chose to skip this because it was collaged there. But there you have the envelope. Now I'm going to go ahead and get to this point off camera. I'm going to kind of fix it up a little bit and do the sewing. And I will come back on the next video. And we are going to be making the closure. So we're going to be making this part right here, this part, and I'll show you how I attach the string. And that's it. That's pretty much all you need to do. It's pretty simple, and it looks, I mean, there's not much, there's a lot of collaging in here, kind of, not really even, just 1 piece, 2, 3 right there, and there's 2 pieces, but it just looks very busy. All right, let me know if you have any questions down in the comment box, and next time we'll continue on this. But thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye everyone.